Hello guys, welcome back to my channel HK Official. Yes, I'm there with you with the unit number 4 of BEE, that is Basic Electrical Engineering. The topic of unit 4 is polyphase AC circuit and transformer. So in this video, I'll be going to cover the complete one shot of this unit number 4. So after seeing this, you will be completely clear with your concepts of this unit number 4 of BEE. I hope you are liking my one shots. I have already uploaded BEE unit number 3 in 2 parts, but this I'll be uploading in one shot only. Otherwise, SME also I have uploaded unit number 3 and unit number 4 in one shot series. So I hope you are liking those lectures, and if you are liking them, then please go and share them with your friends. So it will be a great thing if you share it with someone else who is there in need. So for today, we will start with this unit number 4 of BEE. Again, I'll let you know it is polyphase AC circuit and transformer. So the complete one shot I am taking in this, I will be sharing my handwritten notes. So I think this will be easier for you to understand, and it will be in the sequence like how you have to write your answer in answer sheet. Okay, so let us go ahead. So this is the chapter, that is unit number 4, polyphase AC circuit and transformer is the name, because some of the part of transformer is also covered in this unit. So the very first thing that we have to understand is what is there in this unit, right? So polyphase AC circuit, if you remember what was the topic name of unit number 3, it was single phase AC circuits, right? So it is just the update thing of it, that is polyphase AC circuit. And in this unit we are going to study about transformers and some AC circuits with deal with polyphase, in the sense we are going to deal with three phase AC circuits. Okay, so here polyphase AC circuits and transformers, what do? They play a crucial role in electrical engineering for efficiently transmitting and distributing electrical power. So if I craft its introduction, the polyphase AC circuit and transformers form the backbone of modern electrical power systems, enabling the efficient generation, transmission and distribution of electricity. So if we go, unlike to single phase systems, polyphase systems utilize multiple alternating current waveforms with a specific phase relationship. Commonly we are going to see three phase relationship. Okay, so this design enhance power generation and delivery efficiency. Additionally, if we go to see here, we are going to study about transformers also. So transformers in polyphase system, they facilitate the transformation of voltage level. That is a critical function in optimizing power transmission and utilization. So in this exploration, we delve into principles, applications and significance of polyphase AC circuits and transformers in the realm of electrical engineering. So I hope you are familiar with the topic, and you are getting clear what all things we have to see in this unit. So the first of all, we have to see that as we are going to study about three phase voltage, okay, or three phase circuit we are going to see. So first of all, we will see the generation of three phase voltage. So what is there in generation of three phase voltage? You can see, like, it involves creating three sinusoidal waveforms with a specific phase relationship, right? So here is the concise diagram which I have made. You don't have to explain this. If such a question by chance arises, like you have to explain about the generation of three phase voltage, that time you can consider, but it is as just for your introduction. Okay, so this three phase voltage is generated by producing three sinusoidal waveforms that are 120 degrees apart in phase, as you can see in the phasor diagram below. Okay, so this process typically involves rotating coils within a generator, if we go to see, or utilizing a combination of single phase generators. The resulting three phase voltage is essential for efficient power generation, distribution and utilization in electrical systems. So the balanced and phased nature of three phase voltage, this enables us for smoother power delivery and enhanced efficiency in various industrial and commercial application. So this was all about the generation of three phase voltage. You can see we have we always name three phase voltages as RYB. This series is common, so you have to also follow the same series. So if we go to see this waveform, we have three waveforms, and you can see they have a specific typical shape, okay, relationship between them. So this is the generation, how they are generated, okay. Otherwise you can see that there is 120 degrees phase difference in the waveform, okay. So this is your generation of three phase voltage. Then the very important part of this unit is that you have to learn some of the definitions, and I would say that you have to understand some of these definitions. So the very first definition, which is like, I can say, like it is there in every paper, so you have to learn these. I have also written important in the like whatever topics which are important in those, so you have to consider them. If you believe me, then you have to learn these things which I am saying that they are important, okay. So the first definition is symmetrical or balanced system. It may come like define symmetrical system, or it may come like define balanced system. That time what you will define, the systems in which all the three voltages have equal magnitude, frequency, phase displacement of 120 degree. The very simple definition. Otherwise in pencil I have written a more professional definition of it, but the meaning is same. For your understanding, I have written in simple language also, and in the definition which is there in some books, okay. So as per the definition, three phase system in which three phase voltages are of identical magnitude and frequency and are displaced by 120 degree from each other is known as symmetrical or balanced system. So I think you will get meaning very easily, like the system in which all the three voltages have equal magnitude, frequency, phase displacement. So if we go to see this phasor diagram in which I have shown 120 degree phase difference, that is the example of balanced system. Why? Because it have equal magnitude of phase displacement, okay. So the system in which all the three voltages they have equal magnitude, that means their voltages magnitude must be equal, its frequency must be equal, and their phase displacement must be 120 degree. That time we can say that the system is symmetrical or balanced system, okay. The name itself is suggesting you that which definition you have to write. So the three terms which you have to remember over here is voltage magnitude, frequency, and phase displacement, that must be 120 degree, okay. So this is your first definition, and again I will say the very first important part of your unit. Then we have second definition, that is of phase sequence, okay. Again of the same importance. All the definitions, you don't have to neglect any of the definition, as all of them are important. We don't know that which definition would be asked in exams anytime, okay. So phase sequence is what? The phase sequence is defined as the sequence in which three phases reach their maximum possible values is called phase sequence, okay. So what does phase sequence do? In this phase sequence we get to know about the three phases, but they are at their maximum possible value, okay. So the sequence, or we can say the phase sequence, is defined as a sequence in which three phases reach their maximum possible value. They are called as phase sequence, okay. Which term you have to remember over here? That is maximum possible value. Phases attending their maximum possible values. Normally phase sequences are YB. I have told you this sequence is majorly accepted and you have to follow the same, okay. So these were the two definitions. Then we are going to delve into the third part of our chapter, that is three phase supply connection. So now we are going to see a three phase supply connection in which we have further two types, that is star connection and delta connection. So what is star connection? So in star connection, three phase windings, they are connected in a common point. If I show you the diagram, this is the diagram for your star connection. So how you will define the star connection if such a description is asked in your paper? So first of all, if there is a question to explain or to write a note on three phase supply connections, that time you will write there are two types of supply connections, that is star connection and delta connection. In star connection you will write that in a star connection, three phase windings are connected to a common point. See, where I have shown you the neutral point, that is your common point. So here what is happening? Three phase windings, they are connected to a common point and they are forming a star shaped configuration. Hence this connection is called as star connection. Again I am pointing you that you have to remember neutral point or the common point in this case. So what is the diagram? What is the Definition: in a star connection, three phase windings are connected to a common point, forming a star shaped configuration. Okay, and the symbol for this representation is Y or W. Then if I go to tell you about its advantages, so what is it allows? It allows for a neutral point which is suitable for balanced and unbalanced loads. Okay, so you have to remember the advantage, that it allows for a neutral point which is suitable for balanced as well as unbalanced loads. I think you are clear with the star connection. Then we have delta connection. See, it will look like this, RYB, you can label it. So what will be its definition? In delta connection, the end of one phase winding is connected to the start of the next, forming a triangular or the delta configuration, we can say. I hope you are getting the concept. Just you have to mention the end of one phase winding is connected to the start of the next, just like it's forming a triangle or delta pattern. So this is your delta connection. Okay, its symbol is again the Greek letter delta. And what I will tell you about advantages: so suitable for loads without a neutral connection. Star connection was suitable for neutral connection, right? But in this case it is not suitable for neutral connection. Often it is used in high power industrial applications. Okay, so here we can conclude that we have understood what are the two types of three phase supply connections. Okay, then further we have three phase load connection. What we recently saw, we saw three phase supply connection, but this time we have three phase load connection. Again the same thing is there in here, just you have to show the impedance. Okay, Z denotes impedance, right? So here you have to show the same thing in the same diagram as you have shown here inductance, right? Such a symbol you have shown, just the thing you have to replace it by the impedance. Okay, this is your star connection. Again the same definition would be there, and here delta connection. Okay, very simple. Now we will go ahead. Here we have balanced load. So what you can say about the balanced load? See, the definition I have written over here. Again I would say that this is the important one. See, first we will see the definition which you can understand in simple language. The load in which all the three impedances are of equal type, equal magnitude and equal phase difference. That means in this diagram, if you go to see, if you consider this diagram, this one, you can see that L, that is inductance, and resistance, both are same in all the three connections, or I can say all the three phases. So this is equal. What does this indicates? It indicates that it is a balanced load. So here also you can see that this is also the example of balanced load. Why? Because all the three impedances, they are equal. Here I have written Z1 equal Z2 equal Z3. So this indicates that the system or the phase, they are balanced, or the system, we can say it is the balanced system. So this was all about the balanced system. I hope you understand the definition, the simple definition, and you can write this definition also, but for the one like they have to understand deeply, I have written both the definitions. You can take any one. So for understanding, I think the load in which all the three impedances are of equal type, equal magnitude and equal phase difference, this one is easy. So the other definition if we see, so balanced load is that load in which magnitude of all impedances connected in load are equal and of same type, and phase angle of them is also equal. Okay, again the meaning is same. You can prefer any definition you want. Okay, so this was about balanced load, because the definitions can come like define balanced as well as unbalanced load. So for unbalanced load you can prefer this one, that is, see, first of all you have to draw the diagram and you have to show like Z1 is not equal to Z2 is not equal to Z3. We are talking about impedance, and you can write the definition as the magnitude and phase angle of three impedances Z1, Z2 and Z3 differ from each other, then that load is known as unbalanced load. Again, the opposite of the balanced load. I think this is simple for you to understand and learn also. Here is the example for it. This is for star connection, and this one you can show for delta connection. Then we are now coming to the very important topic of this unit, and I can guarantee you that there will be 100% question on this part. So I will request you to pay very well attention in this topic, as you have to draw and you have to complete this derivation in your exam. No one will leave it. Okay, if you are seeing my video, it is necessary for you all to attempt this type of question. Okay, so what is the topic? Line voltage and phase voltage for star connection. So what is line voltage and phase voltage for star connection? So there are two questions in which one question is compulsory, maybe star connection or delta connection. So now first we are starting with the star connection, but the second one is your delta connection. That time you have to consider that. So this is the main part of this unit. There is nothing more in this unit. Some of the topics are there and they are only asked in the papers. So you just have to do the things which are to the point, okay, and which have been asked in the papers. So just you have to focus on the important topics. Don't do anything which is not going to come, okay. So whatever I am telling you which is important, it is important, and you have to follow these instructions for scoring good marks, okay. Now if I am telling you that this line voltage and phase voltage for star connection, this topic is important one, so it is your responsibility that you have to practice it once, the whole the whole derivation. After I have completed the complete video, that is your responsibility, that you have to practice it, okay. One time you write it by seeing, another time you can do it with your own, okay. Now here the very first, see, some parts are there which you have to remember, and those points you have to write. The very first point, if such a question arises, there must be the same question, so you have to start with line voltage, okay. So the very first point is line voltage. For writing about line voltage, you have to first draw the diagram. So if I consider this diagram, what you can see, first of all you can see this star connection, okay. We are now familiar with this star connection. You can see I have connected the windings in the neutral point, that is your star connection. And as I told you, you have to mention R, Y, B, okay. You have to mention R, Y and B, okay. This B is connected over this, okay. So we will consider this as B. So this is R, Y, B connection. I hope you are familiar with this now. Now you have to show this current. See, go stepwise, so you will be able to draw this, okay. Then you have to show this IR. What is this IR? Current through R. So what is this? See, here this is R, right? So here you have to show the IR, that is the current, as like this. Similar, wherever Y is there, here is Y. So you will draw line, that is for current over here. This is your current connection to Y load. And as B is over here, you will show current for IB like this, okay. So these are your current lines. I hope you understood. First, what you did? First, you made the star connection diagram. And what did you show? You showed this R, Y and this B. Okay. Then you will show this current through R, this current through Y and this current through IB. Okay. I think it is very clear till now. Then what you have to do? See, you have to mention N over here. N is what? N is your neutral point, okay. Then you can see where R and N is there, that voltage is your VRN. That is voltage of RN, okay. This voltage, this type of voltage, okay. This you have to show as VRN, but usually we don't show N in the voltage, so we can also write it as VR, okay. I hope this is simple to understand. And here, as this is the connection for B and N, you can write it as VBN and you can also write it as VB, that is voltage across B, N. Then here is voltage across N, Y, or you can say YN, okay. So this is your voltage for, as it is connected with Y and N, you have to show that. I think then voltage part is equal. How you have to make your diagram, I am telling you step by step. First of all, you have to draw your star connection diagram representing R, Y, B. You have to remember where B you have to place, okay. Then you have to show the connection for I, where I is going through. I across R, I across Y, and I across B, that is current flowing, okay. Don't forget to show the arrows, okay. Then you have to show your voltage. Voltage is very simple, as we have mentioned N, that is neutral point. You can simply write about VRN as it is passing through R and N, then VBN as it is passing through B and N, and VNY as it is passing through NY, okay. So this was all about your voltage connection. Then what you will do, here again some additional voltages are there, that is this one VRY, which is the voltage between R and Y, okay. And here VYB, which is the voltage between Y and B. Remember, you nothing else, no other option is there. You have to remember the diagram is by practicing, or I am telling you in that steps you have to follow. The main thing that you have to remember this diagram. So this is the voltage across RY and voltage across YB. Then this is the voltage across B and R, okay. So this much is only the diagram. You have to just remember about the current position and the voltage position. I hope you are very familiar with this diagram. Again, if I go to tell you in short, what you have to do, simply first you have to draw this star connection, okay. You have drawn this star connection, then you have to mention R, then here Y, and here B. Don't forget, people, they write B over here, so that is wrong, as the voltage will not come then correctly. So you have to draw B over here, okay. Then you have to go for current. For current you have to make the line, okay. Then you have to show this current, that is IR across R. Then here IY, that is across Y, and here IB, that is across B, okay. Only this much current you have to show. Then what you have to show about voltage. Now come across voltage. So what you will do, as you have to mention the point as N, that is your neutral point. So here will be your VRN, that is for representing with neutral, but you can also write it as VR. Here is your VBN, and here is your VNY. Some additional ones, that is VYB, VRY, and VBR. See, if you draw with your own now, and you draw this with the help of these same steps, you are going to make it very easily, okay. So you have to draw it like this, and as I told you, you have to first mention the point of your line voltage. So first of all, what is line voltage? The voltage between any two line conductors in a three-phase system, okay. That is your voltage line, or you can say line voltage. This is the formula for that, that is VL equal to VRY equal VYB equal VBR. See, if you see the diagram, this diagram, you can see that what will be the line voltage. As I told you the definition, the voltage between any two line conductors in a three-phase system, which is VL, okay. So what you can write, you can first of all you will mention about RY. So where it, this one, so this one is your VRY, then this one VYB, and this one, that is VBR. So which one I told you, these are additional one, this one here are your line voltages, okay. Line voltages, again I will tell you the definition, the voltage between any two line conductors in three-phase system. So this is your line conductors, you are understanding, R, Y, B. So excepting which are with N, that is with neutral point, we have to mention all the voltages, that is here in this case VRY, VYB, and don't forget that you have to show them equal, that is VL equal VRY equal VYB equal to VBR. I hope it is clear, okay. Then let us go ahead. Then the second point you have to mention is about phase voltage. So what is phase voltage? If I tell you, the voltage which is across an individual phase in a three-phase system, that is denoted as V phase. So in the diagram, as we first is the line voltage. So line voltage was in between R, Y, and B only, okay. But this phase voltage, it is respected with the only individual voltages. So the voltages which we have written with the neutral point, na, that is VRN, VBN, VYN. These are all the phase voltages, and you can also write them as VR equal VB equal VN. So this is your phase voltage, and the relation between line voltage and phase voltage you have to write, that is VL IL is line voltage, it is equal to under root 3 of phase voltage, and this derivation, there is a derivation in which we have to prove this. Okay, then the third point you have to write is about line current. Then in the diagram, if we go to see, only three currents we have, that is IR, IY and IB. So those are only the line current. And if I go to tell you about its definition, so the current flowing through any one of the line conductor in three-phase system denoted as IL, it is the same for all line conductors in balanced system. So it is again the same. And phase current also in this star connection, it is same. Just you have to represent it as IPH, that is current, phase current. So this phase current is again equal to IR equal IY equal to IB. Till now I hope you are very clear and you are taking it very easy. Okay, but remember, it is very important one. Then the relationship between line current and phase current, as we saw the relationship between line voltage and phase voltage, it is VL equal to root 3 VPH. Here the relation between line current and phase current is IL equal to IPH, as we can see both are equal. Okay, now as we all know, here if we see the diagram, here VRY, okay, see this VRY. So with the help of diagram, you can see VRY is equal to VRN plus VNY. Okay, so if we see here VRY, it is nothing but it is equal to, just take it as your theorem as we connect those, right? So VR is equal to VNY. So this is equal to VRY. Same you have to write over here. But VNY is equal to minus of VYN, as we are considering the vector. So in the place of VNY, you can put V as VRY equal to VRN minus VYN. Okay, consider it as the equation number 1. And similarly, you can write for VYB and VBR as well. As in the right hand side, you can see as VRY is equal to VRN minus VYN. So here as VRY is there, na, just we have to subtract them. Okay, in the right hand side. The same thing you can do for VYB as VYN minus VBN, and for VBR VBN minus VRN. Okay, then this is the phasor diagram. Again, this is the phasor diagram, which is very important one. So I have drawn here, which is very looking simple. Okay, this phasor diagram, again this phasor diagram is very important. Now if I tell you about the phasor diagram, it is nothing but a graphical representation for phasor or vectors representing the voltage or currents in the three-phase voltage system. Okay, so in this we are going to see about star connection. So for star connection, what you have to do, first of all you have to draw three phasors which are originating from a common point. Okay, so what you have to do first, very first step, you have to draw three phasors. Now what are those three phasors I am showing you? See this VR, this VB and this VY. Okay, so these are the three phasors which are originating from common point, right? So you have to first of all draw these phasors. Now how you have to draw? In your protractor you have to measure 120 degree. Okay, for a perfect diagram you have to do this. You have to measure 120 degree and you have to draw all these three phasors. I hope you are clear till now. So the very first you have to mention it as VR, that is representing for R, voltage for R, and here voltage across B and voltage across Y. Remember the sequence must be same, otherwise your diagram will be wrong. So for that only, for your sequence management also, you have to practice it 1 or 2 times. This phasor diagram you have to practice. Okay, so as I told you, first you have to measure 120 degree and you have to draw these three phasors and which are originating from common point. This each is representing the phase voltage. Then these phasors are typically of 120 degrees apart. As I told you, these are reflecting the phasor difference or phase difference in a balanced system. Okay, then we have to show the line voltage of phasors. These are drawn by connecting the tips of the corresponding phase voltage phasors. As I told you, see how you have to draw. See, follow my construction. As here you can see Vy is present, so in the back side of it you can make like this. Here you can make Vy minus of Vy in the back side of Vy. Okay, simple. Then just you have to, what you have to do, you have to draw the resultant, like you make resultant, right? So like this you have to make resultant and you have to join this, and this is your v r y. As it is in between r and y, this will be your v r y. Okay, so the same procedure you have to follow for all the three phases. Again you can see, as vb is here, if you draw it backward it will be your vb. Again if I draw, this will be your minus of vb, and then you have to make the resultant. Just you can make the resultant very easily. Okay, like this, and you have to construct like this. Okay, similarly over here, as vr is there on the straight line, this will be on the back side of it, that is minus of vr, and you have to make the resultant of it similar to all of the three. Okay, like this. But just remember that you have to draw like in the by taking the measurement, and you have to take 120 degree on the all three phase voltages. Okay, and vr must be like this. Now here the question can be in terms of resistance, inductance and capacitance. So in such case how you can draw? So in such case, as we all know what is v in inductive, in inductance current is lagging behind the voltage, right? So here you have to show the lagging current like this. Okay, this will be your lagging current. And if it is capacitive circuit, here you have to show the anywhere you can show in any voltage or any phase you can show it. Here it is capacitive, as capacitive is leading, you have to show like this. Okay, so if they have asked for the complete inductive, so all the three phases you can draw for inductive. The better diagram I have kept in delta connection, so you will be getting clear over there. So this was all about the phasor diagram. And also don't forget to draw the current. Okay, as here if you consider for resistive, this will be IR, and if the complete diagram will be of resistive, you have to show the current in the voltage only, because they don't have any phase difference, right? So you have to show like this only for resistive. But if it is for inductive, you have to show lagging every time. Here it will be lagging, then here it will be lagging, here it will be lagging. Okay, so this is how you have to show in lagging. And if it is capacitive, as here it is capacitive, here it will be capacitive, and here it will be capacitive. So this will be the diagram if you have to draw for capacitive, for inductive and for resistive. Here in this diagram I have shown all the three in the same diagram only. As here I have shown about resistive, this is inductive, and this is capacitive. So this is the general diagram. If the question is for general type, then nothing is asked for inductive, capacitive and resistive, you can show this. And the other thing, as which is needed further for your derivation, you have to draw this perpendicular over here. Okay, and then you have to mention it as AC or A C O. Okay, O is your neutral point, then this is your 30 degree. Okay, this diagram this triangle we have to consider now. Okay, I think you are familiar with this. Now in further derivation we have to consider this diagram. Let us see and go ahead. Here we have, yes, this was the phasor diagram. Okay, now here from triangle COA, consider the same diagram. Okay, COA, this considering this diagram or this triangle, we have cos theta. Cos theta, now here theta is 30 degree. So what will be cos 30 degree? It will be equal to CO upon AO. If you see the triangle, okay, what is cos theta? Adjacent upon hypotenuse. So if we see the triangle, we can get to know that it is CO upon AO. But we all know what is cos 30, it is root 3 by 2. And what is CO? If we see the diagram, CO, focus on CO, it is what? It is half of VRY, right? So this will be equal to VRY by 2, okay, half of it. And what is AO? AO, remember AO is VR. So here you can write that. Now as we all know, here we have written here as we have written as VL is equal to VRY, and here as VPH is equal to this. So what we can conclude that in the place of them, here Here in the place of VRY we can write that it is equal to VL. So we can write it as VL by 2, and VR is representing VPH, that is phase voltage, so we can replace it by VPH. So again 2 will get cancelled and we will get root 3 VPH, which is equal to VL. So we got the final relationship between the voltage, line voltage and phasor voltage. Okay, that is VL is equal to root 3 VPH. Now the last part of the definite derivation is your power. You have to write about the power. As we all know what is power, like we have to mention it in active, reactive and apparent power. Okay, just we all know as what is the power, or what is the active power in general case. We have seen in the last unit, it is 3V, it is P is equal to VI cos theta. The same thing over here, but we have to multiply by 3 as we are now dealing with 3-phase circuit or 3-phase system. So we have to just multiply it by 3, and you have to remember the two formulas over here. As you have the values for phasor type as phase voltage and phase current, that time you have to refer this, that is 3 VPH IPH cos phi. But we all know what is VL is equal to root 3 VPH, right? So in the place of VPH, as if we replace it by VL by root 3, we will get the another formula for it, that is active power is equal to root 3 VL IL cos phi. So you have to consider that wherever line current or line voltage is there, that time you have to use root 3 equation, and wherever phase current and phase voltage are there, you have to use 3. Okay, that type of equation. And similarly for reactive power, we all know we have to replace by sin phi, and for apparent power just 3 VPH IPH. Okay, so this was all about the power, and this is the phasor diagram. I hope you understood the derivation. Yes, it is bit complicated, and sometimes some may get confused over the phasor diagram and this one diagram, but if you practice these both diagrams, it will be easier. Okay, the complete derivation is on the basis of diagram only. If you understand the diagram and if you made the diagram correctly, then it is very simple for you to gain the complete marks of this question. So first of all, you have to draw this diagram. You have to mention line voltage, phase voltage, relationship between line voltage and phase voltage, and then line current, phase current. Okay, then the relation between line current and phase current, and then you have to draw this phasor diagram, and you have to remember that what is the question type. If the question is general, then you have to show these 3: inductive, capacitive, resistive, all. But if it is like for inductive circuit, for capacitive circuit or for resistive circuit, that time you have to replace all the current at that position, and I hope you can do that. Okay, then you have to derive this equation, that is VL is equal to root 3 VPH, and you have to mention about active, reactive and apparent power. This is your final derivation. Okay, you can write some definition of line current, line voltage, phase current, phase voltage, as I have mentioned. Okay, then we will dive into delta connection. Okay, again of the same importance. If star connection is not asked, delta connection is there. If delta connection is not asked, then star connection is there. So both the two questions are mandatory, so you have to practice them. There is no option. So for delta connection, you can see we have made delta. Okay, this delta connection. So for this you have to consider, you can consider impedance this time. Okay, so ZPH, that is phase impedance, phasor impedance. Okay, you have to show the balanced connection here. Then what you have to do here, you have to show this line voltages for R. So for Y you have to just connect it like this. Okay, like this. You have to connect it over this end, as we are making RYB in clockwise manner. Okay, and this is your B. Okay, this is your B. I hope you understood. If you draw it once, you will be getting very clear. Why we connected Y over here? Because we have R over here, Y here and B over here. This is the connection, and you have to make the same. Don't replace Y by B and B by Y. People do the same mistake and their diagram goes wrong, and again their whole derivation goes wrong. So for you, I am telling this thing that you have to label the same as I have mentioned, otherwise your derivation will be wrong. So as we have mentioned RYB, the same thing as I told you. We all have shown the current also like this. Okay, this is your current. Okay, for your understanding I am drawing like this. Okay, this is your current. for R, Y and V. Don't forget to mention them, and also you have to draw the arrows. Okay, then current part is over. Then we have to mention the voltages. Now voltages are very easy for us to mention now, as this is the voltage between R, Y. Okay, so we will mention it as RY. Then here this is the voltage between VB. So this will be voltage VB, and here voltage BR. Okay, now the additional ones here, that is VRY, VYB and VBR. Okay, so these all are the voltages. See, by seeing the diagram only you will be able to label it. Okay, you don't have to learn the diagram, you have to understand the diagram every time, I will say. Okay, so this was the thing. Now also you have to the current here like this, as I have to shown here, RYB, IYB and IBR. Don't forget that you have to show the same arrow. Okay, so this was your current. Okay, then the same thing here also you have to mention line voltage, phase voltage, their relation, then line current, phase current, their relation. Okay, so how you can do that? So here line voltage, again the same thing you have to follow, but here what will be the difference? See, we will see the difference here. This the opposite thing will happen. Like in star connection, what was there? Line current was equal to phase current, but here what will happen? Line voltage is equal to phase voltage, and the this formula will be interchanged, that is IL will be equal to root 3 IPH. So for the same line voltage, here will be again the same definition will be considered. So here it will be VRY which is equal to VYB which is equal to VBR. Same concept, I am not taking much time here. Then phase voltage will be again the same, VRY equal to VYB and equal to VBR. Don't do like VRN or V, because here we don't have neutral point, so N concept is not over here. So here what will happen? VL will be equal to VPH for delta connection. For line current, what will be there? We have line current as IR, IY and IB. So you have to equalize them. Then for phase current, as we have drawn the additional currents IRY, IYB and IBR, that one you have to mention. So here this the line current and phase current, they will have the relation of IL equal to root 3 IPH. Now here you have to apply KCL on each point for R, for Y and for B. So what you can do, here we have at point R, if you focus on point R, we have to apply KCL. So what will be IRY? So here if you go to see, if you see this is IRY. So what will be IRY? See, this is IRY. So IR plus IBR, IR plus IBR. So this IR and IBR, these all are equal to this IRY. Okay, I hope you all know what is KCL. We have learned this in 12th standard, right? So the same thing you have to follow over here, and for point R, for point B and for point Y, you have to do the same thing. See, if you draw the diagram and consider this thing by your own, it will be easier. So here from here we have to take what is IR, it will be equal to IRY minus IBR. We have to name it as equation 1, and the same we have to do for Y and for B. Okay, I am not wasting time explaining these small things, you can understand by your own also. And here this is the phasor diagram, simple one. Okay, you can draw such a type for your star connection also if the question is not for that much of marks. Okay, so this is for, now this time you have to mention IR, IB and IRY, IBR and IYB in this case. Okay, same you have to take 120 degrees, and here you have to mention the perpendicular over OB, that is AC. Okay, and then you have to consider in triangle OAC the same thing, cos 30 degrees is equal to OC upon OA, but this time this OC if you see in the diagram, it is IR upon 2. Okay, and OA is IRY, and as they are equal to IL and IPH as we have written over here. Okay, if we consider the same thing, okay, this will be equal to root 3 by 2 equal to IL by 2 upon IPH. 2 will get cancelled, and we will get the relation between line current and phase current. And this is the thing which I have told you, if the question is for individual, like for inductive, capacitive and resistive, you can make the diagram like this. So for inductive, as it is lagging, you can make the diagram like this, and you have to show the current lagging or in all the three phases. Here in the capacitive, current is leading, so you can show like this if it is leading, and for resistive you can make like this. Okay, so it is not compulsory that you have to draw all these three. If whichever is asked, capacitive, inductive or resistive, that type you have to mention. Okay, and I don't think like I have to mention or explain explain all the thing now. I have explained star connection in very detail. Okay, the same thing you have to follow over here. And again the power is same here also. Okay, same thing, nothing else. Now I will show you one numerical which is on the same thing. Question is, three identical coils each having a resistance of 15 ohm and inductance of 0.03 Henry are in delta. Now this is the question for delta connection. Okay, across 400 volt 50 hertz supply. Determine four things are asked: phase current, line current, power consumed, or phasor diagram. So the things which are given we have written over here. So first thing is phase current. So what is phase current? We all know what is current. Current is voltage upon resistance. Okay, if we consider Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, so I is equal to V by R. But in this case, we don't have to consider resistance, we have to consider impedance. This I have explained in last units also. Okay, these things you have to keep it in mind. And here, as what is the asked, phase current is asked, so we will write PH over them. Okay, don't think like it is another formula, it is the same formula. Okay, now for finding this we have to know what is impedance, phasor impedance in this case. So this will be the same formula for impedance as it is under root of R square plus XL square. So here XL is what? 2 pi FL. So for putting XL we have to know XL also. So it is by putting all the values by given, frequency is given, inductance is given. So we will get that it is 9.42 ohm, and if we put it in impedance formula we will get 17.71, and if we put it in the current formula we will get finally the current which is 22.58 ampere. You can do your calculations and match the answers. Okay, then the second thing asked is your line current. So what is line current? The formula, as it is mentioned delta connection, you have to use the formulas for delta connection. Okay, as the formulas are interchanged, so if it is asked for star you have to mention that formula, otherwise your answer will be wrong, remember it. Okay, so line current in this case it will be root 3 of IPH, and now we have we all know what is IPH in this case, so we will write and we will calculate. We will get 39.11 ampere over here, and then it is asked for power consumed. So now in this case power consumed is there, so we will remove active power, that is 3 VPH IPH cos phi. Okay, in this case I know phasor values, but if it is if I know line values, that time I will use root 3 VL IL cos phi, that formula. Okay, so here for this we have to remove cos phi, so we will remove cos phi with our same formula, that is R by Z. Okay, these all are basic formulas. Now I am not going in such a deep. So if you have studied unit number 3, so this will be very easy for you. So again you have to then calculate by doing the same procedure. You will get the power consumed, and the last is your phasor diagram. What you can do for phasor diagram? The same thing you have to make. Just what you have to do, you have to mention, as here it is inductive, right? It is mentioned for inductance, so you have to show the current is lagging, and you have to show phi. What is phi? It is 32.14 degree. So you have to mention that, nothing else. Okay, this is your phasor diagram if asked. Okay, so this question, such a question are asked in the NSEM paper, so you have to practice this. Okay, let us go ahead. Then we have transformer. So what transformer do? First of all, so if I tell you in simple terms what is transformer, it is like a magic box for electricity. What does it do? It doesn't make electricity, but it can make it stronger or weaker. It takes electrical energy from one place and changes the voltage, so we can use it in another place without changing the type of electricity, that is AC or DC. It's like having a tool that lets us send power where we need it in just the right way. Okay, so this is all about this in simple words. You can understand the transformer. But if we see the definition, if definition is asked, you can write, if it is a static device which is used to transfer electrical energy from one AC circuit to another AC circuit with desired change in voltage without any change in frequency. Okay, so what you can write about it? It is simple. Just what is it? It is a static device and it is used to transfer electric energy from one AC circuit to another AC circuit. Okay, just remember AC circuit as a box, two boxes are there and you have to transfer their components to each other. So that is nothing but the work of transformer. It is a device which is used to transfer electrical energy from one AC circuit to another AC circuit with desired change in voltage. So we can change the voltage, but we cannot change the frequency, remember, and it works on the principle of mutual induction. So if such a note is asked, short note about transformer, you can mention these things. See, here it is the diagram for transformer. see, in which you have to show the core, you can show the self-induced EMF. We have learned this diagram in 12th standard, right? So you have to show primary winding, secondary winding, and then mutually induced EMF. So diagram is simple, you can draw this, and this is the construction. And also remember that transformer transfer works only in AC, not in DC. Okay, then we have this construction for transformer. Okay, so how you can explain this? See, this question is not frequently asked, but it is there in syllabus, so we cannot judge the examiner this time. But this construction is not asked as it is very complicated and it takes much time for the student to draw this diagram in paper. So just focus on my words and how I am explaining. If such a question arises, it would be not like you don't have any knowledge of it. You have to consider this construction. So for the first, you have to understand the thing like what is present. The main thing you can see, oil is present, oil tank. What does oil tanks do in this case? First of all, we have core, and that what does it core do? It provides a path for magnetic flux, which is during the transformation process. Then we have winding. Winding, what does it do? If copper conductors are there, so it is wound around the core, which is facilitating voltage transformation. Now in the diagram, if we see the oil tank, what does it do? It serves as insulation and coolant, dissipating heat generated during operation. Then we have conservator, which manages oil volume changes due to temperature fluctuations, which is maintaining the optimal levels. Then you can see explosion vent, okay, on the left side of diagram. So this ensures safety by releasing pressure in case of internal faults or excessive pressure. Then you can see Buckles relay. Okay, what does this Buckles relay do? It monitors mechanical stress and prevents damage by disconnecting the transformer during abnormal conditions. Then you can see breather on the right side. It manages air exchange to prevent moisture and impurities from entering the transformer. Then you can see the cooling tubes which are present. It enhances heat dissipation, maintaining optimal operating temperature for efficient performance. Okay, just you have to understand the components, nothing important here. Then we have L-shape laminations and J-shape laminations. So the question may arise like explain about L-shape and J-shape lamination. So in transformer construction, L-shape and J-shape lamination, they refer to variation in the design of transformer core. Okay, if we consider for L-shape lamination, you can see, so if we have to write its description, how we can write? L-shape laminations form a core which resemble the letter L. Okay, you can see the letter L over there, and the core consists of two limbs perpendicular to each other. Then we have applications. Commonly it is used in distribution transformers. If we go to see about its advantages, simplicity in design, cost effective, suitable for lower power applications. Okay, then for J-shape laminations, description must be that J-shape laminations, they create a core resembling the letter J with one straight limb and one curved link. Okay, as the letter J is there. Then this is often employed in power transformers for higher voltage and power applications. If we go to see its advantages, so it offers a longer path for magnetic flux, reducing the core losses and improving efficiency. So these variation in lamination shapes, they allow transformer to be tailored to specific application based on factors such as power rating, voltage level and efficiency requirement. Okay. Then we have some types of transformer winding, that is two types of transformer winding: concentric, cylindrical winding and sandwich type winding. Okay, then the important question, that is types of transformer. We have three types: core type, shell type and berry type transformer. So in electrical transformers, the terms core type and shell type, they refer to arrangement of transformer winding with respect to the transformer core. So in this, what will be the expected question? I have written on the top the difference between core and shell type. This question is asked, so it is important one. So you can, if you understand both of them, will be getting easier to write their difference. So first of all, if we go to see about the core type transformer, so what is the construction? You can see the core type transformer, it has a core that resembles the letter I. Okay, the primary and secondary windings are wound on the separate limbs of the core. Okay, the separate limbs of the core, they have some windings. We can refer primary and secondary winding. Now if we go to see the winding arrangement, so the windings are concentrically wound around the limbs with the low voltage winding close to the core and high voltage winding the top. Okay, so while you are drawing the diagram, you can ensure that you are correctly depicting the core type transformer with concentric cylindrical windings, okay, indicating the arrangement of the windings on the limbs of the I-shaped core. Then here you have to remember that in the core type, typically it uses silicon steel laminations to construct the core, providing low core losses, okay. So the thing you have to remember here is 0. Silicon steel, okay, and its size is 0.35 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter, and you have to remember here concentrical cylindrical type of winding is used, okay. So this was about core type. And for shell type, if you see the shell type transformer, it has a core that resembles a cylindrical shell, and both the primary and secondary windings are wound around the central limb, as you can see, okay, and the windings are sandwiched. You can see here sandwich type of winding is seen. This arrangement provides better short circuit strength, okay. So here your diagram correctly depicts the shell type transformer with a sandwich type winding, illustrating how both the windings are wound around the central limb of the core. So what is this sandwich type winding? You can get that low voltage, high voltage, low high. Such a type of arrangement is called as sandwich type of arrangement, okay. So this is similar to the core type, but it again it also uses silicon steel lamination for the core. Then for berry type, you can see like such a low voltage and high voltage windings, they are arranged in the berry pattern, okay. There is not much description for berry type. The main important types are core type and shell type, okay. So the main difference lies in the arrangement of winding. Core type has separate winding on different limbs, while shell type has both windings on the same limb. I hope you are getting the difference. Each design has its advantages and may be chosen based on specific application requirements such as voltage, power rating and mechanical considerations, okay. I hope you are familiar now with the types of transformer. Now let us go ahead. Now yes, as I told you, the star connection and delta connection, as they were the most important part of the unit, this is the another part which is very very important. So this is again a very short derivation, I can say, and the only thing is that you have to draw this graph and you have to derive this, only this much, and this is very important one. It is asked frequently in the papers, okay. So how you can draw? See, here is the waveform which you have to draw representing maximum phase difference, and then that is pi 2 pi, this phase difference you all know, okay. Then what you have to do, as we all know, till 2 pi time period is 1 by f, that is 1 by frequency, we all know what is time period. So for the 25% part of it, as here you can see, it is 1 by 4f, only just this much you have to consider. And at if you have time, you can draw this transformer diagram also in the on the side of the EMF equation, okay. Then what you have to do, you have to consider average EMF per turn. So what will be the average EMF per turn? It will be equal to average rate of change of flux, okay. We all know what is EMF. So the same thing here, it will be equal to average rate of change of flux, which will be equal to d phi by dt. We all know what is rate with respect to time and the change in flux, so we can write d phi by dt. So here change in flux upon time required to change in flux, okay. So what is d phi? What is the change in flux in the diagram? It is phi m maximum. So here you can write phi m minus 0, that is minimum 1. And what is the time required? If we consider from 0 to pi by 2, it will be 1 by 4f. So just by rearranging, 4f will go into the numerator and we will get 4f phi m, and as it is we are deriving for average EMF, this will be in volt. So 4f phi m volt. Now we all know what is form factor, we have learnt in previous units. So what is form factor? It is RMS value upon average value. So what will be as RMS upon average, the form factor is always 1.11, okay. So here we will put form factor as 1.11, and if we take average to the left side, we will get average into 1.11 equal to RMS. Now we all know what is the average EMF, it is 4f phi m. Just put the value, we will get RMS value of EMF per turn, which is equal to 4.44 f phi m volt. So for primary winding, E1 will be equal to the same thing, just you have to multiply it by N1, okay, for primary winding. So E1 will be equal to 4.44 f phi m N1 volt, and for secondary winding the same thing, just E2 equal to 4.44 f phi m N2 volt. So these formulas are important, and here your derivation completes. was there anything which was very difficult? No. So here just you have to practice this. The thing you have to click, that you have to draw this diagram, then you have to remove average EMF per turn. Then you have to remember that with the help of form factor you have to remove the RMS value of EMF per turn, and similarly you have to remove for primary winding and secondary winding just by multiplying by N1 and N2, and yes, your derivation is over. Okay, so this derivation comes for 6, 7 or 8 marks. Only this much is expected. Okay, then you can elaborate it. Okay, in your sense, if you can elaborate the graph and its components. Okay, if the question is for more marks. Then we will come to losses of transformer. We have two types of losses, that is copper loss and iron loss. So how you can explain about copper loss and iron loss, we can see. So for copper losses, we all know copper loss. When does it happens? It happens because the wires, the copper coils in the transformer, they have same resistance. When electricity flows through these wires, they heat up due to this resistance and energy is lost as heat. So it's directly proportional to the square of current flowing through the windings and the resistance of the wire. Okay, then what will be its impact? So copper loss is a constant concern during the operation of a transformer, and efforts are made to minimize it to improve overall efficiency. Okay, so what will be the copper loss? We denote it by PCU. Okay, so the copper loss are related with winding. As I told you, P is equal to I square R is the formula. Copper loss we can write I1 square R1 plus I2 square R2 like this, and remember that it depends on current, hence it is also called as variable loss. We all know current keeps on changing, so we can say that it is a variable loss. Okay, then at last you have to mention that by reducing the resistance, as we all know the formula for it is I square R, so by reducing resistance we can reduce the copper loss. So for iron loss we have two types of losses, hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. So if we have to explain about iron losses, what we can explain? Iron loss occurs in the transformer core due to the magnetic property of the material. As we are considering, or we are dealing with iron this time, it involves two components: hysteresis loss, that is energy loss due to magnetizing and demagnetizing the core, and eddy current loss, which is the energy lost as current circulate within the core. Okay, hysteresis loss is influenced by the type of core material, while eddy current loss depends on the thickness and type of the core lamination. So iron loss is crucial to consider as it affects the efficiency and heating of the transformer. Choosing the right core material and design helps minimizing these losses. Okay, so here I have written for hysteresis, it is related with the core, and losses present in hysteresis loop are nothing but hysteresis losses. Then we have to use materials having small hysteresis loop. This is the way which we can reduce this iron loss. And for eddy current loss, it is directly proportional to T square, that is thickness of lamination. These are also called as constant losses as they are independent of current. Okay, the same thing for this formula you have to learn, no other option. Here you have to learn the formula. So hysteresis loss is equal to KH BM FV, and eddy current loss is equal to KE BM square F square T square. The total loss will be PCU plus PI, that is copper loss plus iron loss, and this is the formula for copper loss, which is equal to N square, that is your load, into P copper full load. Okay, for example here N is your load. If the load is half, that time you have to consider 1 by 2, so that time the formula will become 1 by 4, but the general formula is here, that is copper loss nu will be equal to N square, that is your load, into P copper full load. So this was all about your loss. So the question may asked in terms of short note that explain about the transformer losses. So that time you have to mention copper loss, iron loss, and also the types in iron loss, that is hysteresis loss and eddy current losses. And then if asked, then you can mention this formula, and then total loss will be their addition, and this is the final formula. Then we come to ratios of transformer. It is simple, just you have to mention the ratios. What will be the voltage ratio? It is V1 upon V2 or E1 upon E2. Okay, and transformer ratio is nothing but E2 upon E1 equal V2 upon V1 equal N2 upon N1, which is equal to I1 upon I2. Okay, so wherever the ratio of transformer is asked, remember the whole ratio is same, just I1 upon I2 is interchanged. Okay, E is related to EMF, V voltage, N is your number of turns, and I is your current. Okay, so remember the current ratio is I1 upon I2 this time, and we all know what is there for step up transformer. When K, that is V2 by V1, is greater than 1, then it is step up transformer. When V2 by V1 is less than 1, it is step down transformer, and when both are same, it is 1 to 1 transformer. Then if it is asked for full load current for primary, these formulas are important for your numerical. Okay, so remember this formula, that is kVA into 1000 upon V1. Only this much formula is there, but if the question is in terms of mega, that time you have to consider that, but it is very frequent. It is mainly it is asked in terms of kVA. Okay, so that is I1 full load is equal to kVA into 1000 upon V1. Why we have taken 1000? Because we are dealing with kVA. Okay, 1000 times. Okay, kilo. Then for secondary, the same thing, I2 is equal to kVA into 1000 upon V2. Okay, then let us see one numerical upon it. See, this is the PYQ and it was asked for 8 marks. So 10 kVA, 3300 by 220 volt, single phase 50 hertz transformer has EMF per turn equal to 10. Calculate these things. So first of all, what they have given to us, they have given E1 by N1 ratio. If we read the question very carefully, we will get that they have written EMF per turn equal to 10. So EMF, that is E1 upon per turn, is N1, which is equal to 10. Then V1 by N1, which is equal to 10. Okay, we all know why we have taken V1 here, as we all know E1 is equal to V1. Okay, then here with the help of this second formula, we can write N1 is equal to 3300, that is the voltage, upon 10. So we will get N1 primary turns, that is 330 turns. So turns on primary side, that is the first question, we will get 330 turns. Then they have asked turns on the secondary side. Same thing, V2 by 10 equal to N2, 22 turns. And then they have asked for maximum flux in the core. So maximum flux in the core, that time you have to use this formula, that was EMF equation for transformer. Okay, so E1 equal to 4.44 F5 N1. So from this we can calculate maximum flux, that is 0.045 Weber. And then they have asked for primary and secondary full load current. So that time you will use this formula, as I told you, full load current, it will be kVA into 1000 upon V1 and kVA into 1000 upon V2. So by applying formula, you will get both the values for I1 and I2, 3.03 ampere and 45.45 ampere. You can do this, you can practice this numericals. Okay, by calculating and all, you can see the calculations as they are right or not. Again, this is the second PYQ, as I have taken 3 identical impedances, each of 6 plus J8 ohm, are connected in star across 3 phase. Now see, star is there, that means we have to consider the formulas related to star connection. Okay, 415 volt 50 hertz AC supply, determine line voltage, phase current and line current, 3 phase active, reactive and apparent power. The key factor here we have to remember that they have given us in the impedance form. So that is Z equal to 6 plus J8. Every time you have to consider that it is the phasor one. Okay, but here as supply voltage is given, as the word supply is there, you have to consider that it is VL. Okay, you will not consider VPH when supply is given. So VL is 415 volt given. So in this case, as it is star connection, we will use VL is equal to under root of 3 VPH, this formula, and you will get this as your voltage to 39.6 volt, and IL equal to IPH in case of star connection. So the same thing you can find out. See, you can carry on this numerical in your notebook, you can solve this and you can see that the answers are coming right or not. Otherwise, I don't think I have to explain these small things. Power they have asked, so power formula we can write and we can draw. So reactive and apparent power. So all the formulas are there. Just by putting the values in formulas, you are getting the answer. Again, this is the another question. 3 identical impedance, each of 8 plus J6 ohm, are connected in star across 3 phase. Okay, the same question is there, but here fourth question which is there, that when same impedances are connected in delta across the same supply voltage, find active power. So the same thing you have to use, but at last you have to draw for delta. Okay, delta connection, that thing you can do. Okay, then here this is again a PYQ, that is the theorem type question. So 4-5 times it was there in PYQ paper. So you have to consider this question as prove that 3 phase balance load draws 3 times as much power when connected in delta as it would draw when connected in star. That means the relation between star and delta. So what we have to prove? We have to prove power. Okay, here power in delta is equal to 3 times of power in star. So first of all, we all know total power in star connection is what? 3 VPH IPH cos phi. We consider the active power. So for star connection, we all know the current relation is IL equal to IPH, and what is the formula for IPH is VPH upon Z, that is impedance. Okay, so VL will be equal to root 3 VPH. This is the second relation in star connection. For voltage, so here VPH will be VL upon root 3. Then this IL will be equal to, if we put this VPH value in first, that is IL equal to VPH upon Z, we will get IL equal to VL upon root 3 Z. Okay, so these things, if we VPH IPH, if we put it in the total power in star connection formula, we will get 3 is equal 3 into VL by root 3 into VL by root 3 Z cos phi. Okay, so this will be VL, this root 3 will be 3, and 3 will get cancelled. So we will get VL square by Z cos phi. This is for star connection. Now for delta connection, we all know the relation, which is VL equal to VPH. So here IL is root 3 IPH. These both are the relation in delta connection. So from here we will take IPH, which is equal to IL by root 3. Then as IPH is equal to VPH by Z, it will be VL by Z, as VPH and VL are same. So here the for delta connection, as 3 VPH IPH cos phi is the formula, in the terms of L it will be 3 VL into VL by Z cos phi. Okay, so this is your 3 into VL square by Z into cos phi. But if we go and see what is star power, it is VL square upon Z cos phi. The same term is over here. So it is proved that power in delta is equal to 3 times of power in star. So this is hence proved. So this was again the small derivation which was asked frequently. Small derivation is there. If you practice, you can get it in simple words. Okay, then we have voltage regulation and efficiency of transformer. Again their definition and formula is asked. Okay, in the first question. So this is your, what is efficiency of transformer? Efficiency of anything is nothing but output upon input. So here efficiency of transformer is output power upon input power. So output power is same, but for input power we have to consider iron losses and copper losses also. So there you have to write output power plus iron loss plus copper loss is equal to input power. What will be the formula? You have to remember this formula. Again, it is important in numericals. That is N kVA cos phi into 1000 upon, in denominator the same thing, N kVA cos phi into 1000. But what you have to add? You have to add copper losses and iron losses. Remember, iron losses are constant, but copper losses, it is N square into copper loss of full load. Okay, this you have to remember because copper loss varies, and N over here is your load. Okay, so N kVA cos phi into 1000 upon N kVA cos phi into 1000 plus copper loss plus iron loss. Okay, this was the formula for efficiency of transformer. In definition, you can write simply, it is output power, ratio of output power upon input power. Then voltage regulation. Voltage regulation is V2 when no load is there. NL is your no load, minus V2 FL, that is full load, upon V2 NL into 100. This is your voltage regulation formula. Okay, simple. So these are the two concepts for definition: voltage regulation and efficiency of transformer. So one numerical we can see on this, that is 3300 per 110 volt 50 hertz 50 kVA transformer has full load copper loss of 1000 watts and iron loss of 1800 watts. Estimate the transformer efficiency at full load and 0.7 lagging power factor and half load and 0.85 lagging power factor. So here first they have asked for N is full load. Okay, full load means, and what we have to take? We have to take 1, and cos phi we have to take 0.7 as it is lagging power. Same formula now, as I told you, N kVA cos phi into 1000 upon N kVA cos phi into 1000 into Pi plus N square P copper. Okay, full load. Remember, P copper full load is given 1600 watts, and P, what is Pi? Iron loss, it is 1800 watts. Just putting all the values by taking from the given, you can get that 91.146. After all, you have to multiply by 100 as we have to calculate in 100. Okay, in percentage. I have not shown 100 over here, but you have to multiply 0.911 into 100, you will get it in percentage, that is 91.146%. Then they have, second is for half load. So half load means what? N is equal to 1 by 2 and cos phi is 0.85. Same, by using the same formula, just by putting N is equal to 1 by 2, you will get 90.618%. This will be your final answer. Okay, then we have auto transformer. here. What is auto transformer? So this here in from this topic short note is expected. So what is auto transformer? First of all, it is a type of transformer with only one winding, so which serves both as primary and secondary winding. I have written here it use only single winding, either primary or secondary. It is not either primary or secondary, it uses or it serves both as primary and secondary winding. Remember, the step up and step down processes in an auto transformer occur depending on where the electrical connections are made on the winding. Okay, so we have two types, step down and step up auto transformer. So if first of all we see step down process, so conversely if we see about for step up, if the secondary voltage is taken from a tap below the primary voltage tap, it leads to a step down transformer. This setup decreases the output voltage compared to the input voltage. And for step up transformer, when the secondary voltage is taken from a tap on the winding above the primary voltage tap, it results in a step up transformer. This configuration increases the output voltage compared to the input voltage. So in both the cases what we can see, the auto transformer single winding plays a dual role, providing a simpler and more compact solution for voltage transformer compared to traditional two winding transformers. And the last topic we have direct loading test. Okay, so what is direct loading test? It is a method which is used to evaluate the performance and efficiency of a transformer by applying a load directly to its terminals. Okay, you can see the diagram. Load is attached or applied directly to its terminal. This test helps determine the transformer's voltage regulation losses and overall stability under specific load conditions. Okay, so if I tell you about its procedure, first of all the transformer is first connected to a suitable power source, then a load bank is connected directly to the transformer terminal, then gradually the load is increased in steps while monitoring the transformer's performance. Okay, so what is its purpose? Why we use this direct loading test? This test allows engineers to assess how well the transformer maintains its voltage level and handles increased voltage loads. Okay, so if you see in the diagram would illustrate transformer connected to a power source with the load bank, okay, which is connected directly to its terminals. Then what are arrows indicating? They are indicating the flow of current. Okay, you can indicate the arrows over there. Then we have transformer, load bank, etc., which will help us to visualize the setup of actual direct loading test. And then optionally we can also include meters or instruments to show measurements, like I have included ammeter, okay, voltmeter and all you can approach by and you can draw. Then we have key components in the diagram, that is transformer, load bank and power source. So for this you can just write about the efficiency of transformer, that is output power upon input power into 100, same thing. And what will be W2? Same, we have to write the formula for power, V2 I2 cos phi 2, V1 I1 cos phi 1. So this is the power formula. Then we have percent voltage regulation, the same formula you have to mention about. Okay, so what you have to write? If direct loading test, this is not a frequent question, so I am not taking it that much importantly. So first only this diagram is important, in which you have to show the loads and whatever the things are present in load actually, and then you have to write about the efficiency and voltage regulations. Okay, so this was about the direct loading test. So this is nothing but a visual representation which aids in understanding the arrangement and connections which are involved in direct loading test on a transformer. Okay, so yes, we are done with the chapter, and I think you understood. Some of the things are complicated which need more attention, so your practice makes you perfect. So till the time you don't practice it, you are not getting to get the phasor diagrams and all completely clear in your mind. So I will tell you that you have to practice these phasor diagrams. Okay, the whatever diagrams I have shown you, and the derivations which I have told you which are important. Which are the important one? That star delta connection is very important. Then what all definitions I have told you, those are very important. And EMF equation of transformer is important. Then you can see transformer, in transformer part losses are important, core type, shell type, these types of transformers are important. Okay, so the very small topic is there, but what all things are there, those you have to understand very well. Okay, so I hope you understood very well in this one shot, and I have completed the unit 4 in this video of BEE. So I hope you understood it well, and yes, very much efforts are there in by making this one shots in one flow. I have to speak in one flow itself, and if you like the small part also of this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and please share it with your friends and let it go to all the needy persons or students that need help of these one shots. Okay, so till that time, thanks for watching and do watching my sessions regularly.